Today on Cityline, we're talking about sex, baby. We have some questions from you, our viewers, about sex, things you always wanted to know, but maybe you were afraid to ask. And Dr. Marjorie Dixon is here with the answers. Hey, Marjorie, I'm going to get to question number one.
Hi.
Hi. Since hitting my mid-40s, I've lost the desire to have sex. And when I do, it's more difficult to achieve orgasm. What could be the cause of this? Do I need some kind of treatment? I feel like I'm too young for my sex life to be over. And that's from Fatima. What do you think, doctor?
Well, Fatima's absolutely right, because 41 is way too young to not be having sex any longer or not be interested in sex. Because when you're a gynecologist like me and you see people all over, you know that people are having sex in nursing homes in their 80s. So we have to help you. So we do have things. So we talk about the way that women mostly enjoy sex is through clitoral stimulation, and the clitoris is like the tip of the iceberg, but it has all this innervation behind it. It's the most densely innervated organ of the human body, and only women have it, and it's just for fun. So we have ways of enhancing your orgasms, which are non-invasive, don't require any needles or anything at all that will hurt you. And we can actually use ultrasound wave technology called Cliabana that stimulates the clitoris, which is the tip of the iceberg, this little place, without touching it, just sound wave energy, to enhance the intensity of your orgasms. The other things are talking to your partner and understanding what works for you. So sometimes you have to pleasure yourself before then you know how to have somebody else pleasure you.
Okay, that sounds like a very cool treatment, Marjorie. We're going to get to our next question now. Dear Dr. Dixon, since going through menopause, I found that vaginal dryness has become an issue for me. Now that my kids no longer live at home, I'd like sex to be a little bit more spontaneous. Is there a safe therapy for women so that my partner and I don't always have to use lubricant? And that is coming in from Lisa.
So yeah, there is. So you know, we talk, we're vain, women are vain, and we moisturize our face mostly every single day. Well, we think about our faces because everybody sees them. We don't necessarily think about our vaginas that way, but we should. So the one thing that you can do is daily moisturizing of your vagina. So there are vaginal moisturizers that you get at the pharmacy, and you do that every day, once a day. And that doesn't mean that when you have a big moment, like if you're gonna have penetration, that you might not need the actual lubricant as well. But that might help the need for the lubricant to be a little bit less. And then also we know that you were talking before about orgasms, and only 20% of women actually orgasm from penetration, right? So lubrication comes after orgasm. So if you work at the orgasm first, you'll get some lubrication. And sometimes I write prescriptions for orgasms.
Ooh, you're a special doctor to have in people's lives, Marjorie. Okay, so next question.
I try.
Yeah, you're good. Dear Marjorie, over the past couple of months, I have been finding it painful to have sex on top of everything else going on in the world right now. I can't even enjoy sex in my own home. How can this be happening to me? So, you know, this viewer is frustrated and worried. What can you offer in terms of advice, Marjorie?
There's a lot going on in the world right now. A global pandemic is nothing I thought anybody or any of us thought we would go through. There are also some medical reasons why people can be having, or women can be having, painful intercourse. So it's not, we assume that our lives are complicated, which can contribute to it. We're taking care of parents, we're taking care of kids, we're the sandwich generation. Stress certainly doesn't help. It was mentioned earlier in the show as well. But I think that when we're talking about what medically can happen, there's something called organic pathology. So there can be something called endometriosis, we've talked about it other times, or adenomyosis, where the implants of the endometriosis are when you're having intercourse, the uterosacral ligaments that get tugged at or pushed against actually have endometriotic lesions on them and cause pain. So we really have to have you assessed by a medical professional to say, is this something that's problematic? Or is this something that is linked to something else medical? If you're experiencing depression, some of the medications can actually decrease the amount of blood flow and then lubrication and then make sex more painful. Or if you're treated for breast cancer, aromatase inhibitors actually decrease estrogen, therefore less blood flow to the pelvic region, less blood flow to the clitoris, less lubrication, and painful sex. So I think that before we assume that there's no reason for what's going on, it's important to talk to a medical professional or a sex therapist or somebody about specifically what's going on to ensure that there's nothing else medical that can be rectified, and then work through the sex.
Always. Okay, thank you, Dr. Dixon.